November 7th, 2015. EMT Joe Smader responds to a 911 call to a home in rural Pennsylvania. He arrives to find 12-year-old Seth Apel lying on the ground, bleeding from where his right arm used to be.
Said, I want to die. I'm a baseball player, I'm a pitcher. And I said, you don't want to die, buddy. You're going to be okay.
Seth had been dumping firewood using a trailer that runs off the tractor's power takeoff, or PTO. It was still running when Seth tried using a stick to fix a gear chain on the trailer that had come loose. It was the last thing he remembers.
It was a freak accident. There was a bolt sticking out of the PTO shaft that got caught and ripped the shirt and jacket off of him, ripped his arm off.
Seth's grandfather came out when he heard the screams and called 911. Less than a mile away, Seth's dad, Josh, was still cutting firewood, unaware of what had happened.
And that's when I just started walking down the hill. And that's when I saw my father-in-law coming up the hill. They said, it's Seth, something happened.
At the time, Seth's mother, Angie, was at a friend's house 30 minutes away.
I knew something was wrong, and all she said was, it's Seth, it's Seth. But I couldn't get out of her what had happened or what was wrong. During the whole drive, I was praying, God, tell me he's alive. God, tell me he was alive. And the voice that I heard, God saying, everything's going to be okay. That's all I could get. I'm like, no, I don't want that, because I know that, you know, in the end, everything's going to be okay, but I want to know that he's going to be alive.
By now, the ambulance had taken Seth and his severed arm to a designated landing zone to await a helicopter. Josh arrived moments later.
The thing that really hits me is he's just yelling, I just want to see Jesus. That's always screaming. He's like, no, I just want to go see Jesus.
As Angie got off the interstate, she saw the helicopter, a sign that God had answered her prayer.
And I just started praising God, because I knew that if there was a helicopter, he wasn't dead.
Soon after she arrived, the chopper left for Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, with Seth and his dad on board. Now they were in a race against the clock to save the boy's arm. Plastic surgeon Lorelei Grundwalt had been called in to assist in the surgery.
I think what first went through my head was that the nerves were torn. When the nerves are stretched or torn, technically the patient isn't a great candidate for replantation.
As the staff rushed Seth into the OR, Josh did what he could.
I go through my phone, I start texting to everyone that, you know, Seth was in an accident. Pray for him. Within hours, you know, hundreds of people are, you know, saying that they're praying.
In the operating room, the consensus of the surgical team was that the damage to Seth's arm was too extensive to be reattached. Dr. Grunwald was the exception.
In my heart, in my mind, I felt there was greater than a 50% chance of it being successful. So we sort of debated a little bit, and I said, you know, I really thought it was worth a shot.
It wasn't until Angie arrived 2 hours later that a surgeon came out to tell them what they were attempting.
Our jaws kind of hit the floor. You did what? You reattached, you know, and then it was, so we had something more specific than to pray for.
By now, word was getting out on social media, and thousands of people were praying. In surgery, doctors worked to repair the thousands of severed blood vessels, nerves, and arteries. After 6 hours, they had successfully reattached Seth's arm. The first 48 hours were critical, and all the family could do was wait and pray.
It was just God. I mean, it's funny, until you're in that situation, you don't think you'd have the strength, but he gives it to you.
Seth woke up 24 hours later with a Bible scripture, Philippians 4:13, on his mind.
And they asked me how I was feeling and all that, and I said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I didn't realize his faith was so strong. So I was just very, very proud of him. I know that he has a determined spirit.
The 48-hour mark passed, and it was clear the surgery had been a success. 3 weeks later, Seth was released and started physical therapy. He worked hard because there was something he wanted to do. It didn't matter to Seth that he couldn't use his right hand. He just found a way around it. And 6 months after surgery, he stepped up to the plate for his team.
Now batting number 48, Seth Apel.
I just swung and I just started running. And I really pushed me, but I got there and I realized I'm on base. All right, and I'm like, let's win this. And we ended up winning that game.
Honestly, I think I believed from the beginning. You know, I just had this sense that this could work.
Seth continues to improve, and he's still working on his game.
Seriously, I mean, that's only God can do that. You know, that's just amazing.
Trust in him and follow him, then he'll get you through it. It doesn't matter what the consequence is or what's going on. If you keep your eyes focused on him, you can do everything through Christ.